Oh! Hey, sorry, I hit the nos a little early.
Oh,
Welcome to the Honest Trailer Commentary for The Fast and the Furious, the first one. I got Lon here, I got Danielle. We're family, and we're going to talk about all the Fast and Furious things that went on.
Yeah.
You know the drill. We talk about the film, we give you our behind-the-scenes thoughts. We're going to show you some deleted scenes. We will respond to questions and comments from viewers like you, and we will tease you with next week's Honest Trailer. Oh, what a time capsule this film is. This really took me back. The Fast franchise, it's now some of the biggest movies in the world, only outdone by Endgame and Infinity War as far as opening weekend box office goes. But wow, where it all began. There, around 10 minutes in, they hit me with a little Limp Bizkit to Ja Rule crossfade in the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I dissociated and entered my high school body. So what was where were you in 2000? What was this? When did this come out? 2001?
2001, I believe.
Yeah, I believe I'll look it up, but I think it's 2001.
More innocent time, that's for sure. What are your feelings
Yes,
on the
2001.
on where Fast and Furious began?
I hadn't seen this in like a minute. I was not prepared for all the babes that love cars. Ooh, I was not prepared. Babes will do anything for cars. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, I mean, we've all grown up. Well, Danielle, you've kind of moved around, but we've all grown up in and around the Southern California area where this film takes place, or at least lived here for a very long time. And I've never come upon a babe-filled street race, but I guess I'm just. Usually, it's like if there's any car thing going on, it's like a Screen Junkies video, 95% men. But man, there are babes around.
We should add, it is not just like this movie set in Los Angeles, the first one, but the Fast and Furious film universe presupposes a world in which every major city, every night of the week, there is a place you could find where there's like a huge, over the top, very coordinated street race going on. Like, it doesn't matter where they are. Miami, Rio, every city has its own underground street racing / babe circuit where people get together, wearing very tiny shorts and have street races. It's a universal. Literally every city has one.
But they do make a big to-do out of like going back to Los Angeles in like the fifth or the sixth one or something.
Right. Well, Race Wars. He's got to take Letty back to Race Wars.
But Race Wars is clearly in like Pasadena.
That's a Southern California event.
Yeah. What are you guys going to do for Race Wars this year?
It's like Coachella. It's where the whole city clears out. You're like, what's going on this weekend? It was so easy to get in for brunch. You're like, Race Wars.
Race Wars.
Everybody's at Race Wars.
And where does Dom Toretto go for Race Wars?
He won't tell. It's a secret.
Yeah.
He won't say, I guess.
He goes to ambiguity wars.
Yeah. Yeah, this was crazy. Just some fun facts that I looked up as I was researching this film. The part of Brian O'Connor was initially offered to Marshall Mathers, Eminem.
Oh,
can you imagine this? I mean, that would have just like completely changed this whole thing.
Very different.
Yeah.
Gotta wonder if he would have stuck with the role as long as Paul Walker did.
Right?
Like, would we
Probably
still
not.
be? Would Eminem be in like Fast Five? Like, oh, that's crazy.
Another almost casting. Also another fellow Baldwin, but very different vibe. Timothy Olyphant was gonna play Dom Toretto.
What?
Yeah, until Vin Diesel got on board.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can see him being bald and violent in the Hitman movies if you want to see what that would have looked like. Some other stuff that didn't make it in that I just found interesting. Letty was going to cheat on Dom with Paul Walker, with Brian, but Letty was like that. Letty would never do that, and they cut it from the script. Right. But it does seem like they're going through a very bad patch in their relationship during this movie.
Yeah, they're not very happy.
Yeah, and then finally, Jordana Brewster and Michelle Rodriguez, neither of them knew how to drive. So I was looking for shots where it looked like they didn't know what they were doing, but it's pretty simple. You just kind of hold onto the wheel and go.
Well, Jordana Brewster, in this one, they don't, like, she's a good driver, but they don't really establish her bona fides as, like, she's as good as the rest of the team until she comes back in 5.
Yeah.
Like, 5 is where she's just taking part in the heist, and you're like, oh, I guess she's just part of it now. She's
Question
mostly
about
making
her.
sandwiches in the first.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
like she's either making sandwiches and like they do a lot of shots where she's like up in her room, like with like spiral notebooks out. Is she supposed to be a
Yes.
high schooler?
I
Oh.
thought this too. Like, I feel like there was an earlier version of the script where it was Dom's much younger sister,
Much
and he's
littler
more-
sister, yeah.
He's more like a father figure. He's like raising her, and then I feel
Right.
like they decided let's cast
weird.
older, and they brought Jordana Brewster in, and they're just like stuck with a few scenes where she's just like,
They still have
I'm going
scenes
to
where
my
it's like,
room.
Clarissa explains it all. She's
Right.
like working on her
Yeah.
homework, and then there's
I
there's
feel
Paul
like
Walker.
in this movie she's not supposed to be in high school. I feel like there was an earlier version where maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad that decision was made.
Yeah, they
now
work
she's
better.
like everyone's surrogate mom. She's always just like feeding and cleaning everybody.
Well, you
She
need
is
her,
always
yeah.
cleaning, yeah.
You need her as the contemporary because she ends up like it would just throw off the whole universe if she was
Yeah.
not aged up. It would be weird.
All right, well, let's dive in
It's
to
like
be
this
honest
teenager
trailer
around.
for Fast and Furious 1 and see what else we have to say.
Wait, we haven't done this one already? Are you sure?
I know.
Weird.
Yeah, weird.
It is weird.
Before these movies were about secret agents fighting space crime or whatever.
Damn, they got a magnet plane?
Return to the nuts and bolts of the Fast Saga. Stealing DVD players. Is that a Panasonic PVM939? Sick. They're gonna make like $100. The first
Pause. Yeah, just that the MacGuffin at the center of this movie is like trucks full of DVD players is so funny to me. And then the other thing that they keep mentioning is like the FBI is really on this, like they're really worried about this because the truckers are going to start fighting back.
Right, yeah.
The truckers are going to take matters
Which
into their
they
own
do.
hands.
They do
Which they
in
do.
this film. Yeah, that's
But it's
already
just so
happening.
silly for them to be like, what if long haul truckers had guns? Like, I think we live in a world in which people who truck for a living probably are armed. Fairly safe assumption. I don't know. But yeah, like this is where the FBI like can't take it that like people have been robbing trucks, and the reason they're so concerned is that truckers might shoot somebody that's trying to rob them. I don't
It's
know.
just
I
in a
haven't
movie,
met too many truckers, but
With a setup like this, you've got to get like, okay, we need the movie. We want to make it about street racing, but we need to make the guy an undercover cop. That's the plot. So you have to figure out why an undercover cop would need to also be a good street racer. The goal would be do it as like cleanly and simply as you can, so it doesn't seem super dumb and outrageous. And they didn't do a very good job. Like it seems pretty dumb and outrageous.
They did, but you're coming from the wrong starting point because the starting point was okay. Point Break, they rob banks, but we need something car related.
Right,
So what can what's like a bank with wheels? They should be robbing
what's the
armored
crime,
cars,
right.
like with money in them instead of.
You just the whole
Having
concept
defense
that
DVD players.
the whole concept that they're not just like you wouldn't need street racers because you just get the guys to pull over. You just like that. You don't. The only reason you need street racers is if you're going to do the hijacking while everybody's speeding down the road, and that's just like obviously wrong. Like, don't do it that way.
But it's cinematic and for
It's
that we
cinematic,
appreciate
but
it.
like Goodfellas was in like the 50s, and they figured out no, you pull a gun on the guy and then he pulls over, and then
does.
you rob him while he's stopped. You don't need to be
All right.
a street racer.
keep playing. We'll
Fast
get
and
to that.
Furious movie, the one with all the thes in it. Remember Point Break? Well, some screenwriter did and figured if they changed all the surfboards into Toyotas, no one would notice.
Same location.
Now, the franchise that would one day become the MCU with a GED goes back to its humble roots as an educational series about car parts.
I lengthen the injected pulse. It's your fuel mac. It's got a nasty hole. See a cool air intake and a T4 turbo Dominic. You see an AIC controller, direct port.
Granny
injection.
shifting, not double clutching like you should. Now me and the mad scientist gotta rip apart the block and replace the piston rings you
Direct
fried.
port, nitrous.
Yeah, pause. I mean, that was the second impetus for this movie is like somebody must have read an article about street racing or something and is like, this movie was a subculture film in the same way that like Breakin' 2 was about like, oh, the kids are doing breakdancing now. Let's make a movie about it. And man, if they dropped that thread from this franchise. But this one is very, very much about cars and like your enjoyment of this movie depends on whether you think cars are cool or not. Because there's just so much car stuff compared. What'd you say, Danielle?
So I take the bus. So
when is there going to be the movie for bus drivers like this, where they're all standing around like, oh, I see you got 8 wheels on this bad boy.
Yeah. But I guess
Going
this
out
is
to
just like
Glendale.
this is perfectly timed for me because I was, I don't know, 14, 15. Like I was about to get a car when this came out, and like it just changed my whole understanding of like, okay, well then if I get a Civic, then I can save up and put like a new, like put a spoiler on it or put like change the engine on it somehow. Like never happened. But
get some
man,
NOS, get some NOS in there. Yeah.
Got to get that NOS.
Gotta get the NOS.
Yeah, no, it was. I believe it was 4 when they made the explicit decision, like, okay, international heist instead of car stuff. Like, let's move it away from the gearheads and make it more easier to sell overseas, broader, more mainstream. And wow, it worked. But yeah, it means the movies don't have these scenes in them anymore.
Yeah, it's jarring to see this be so much about the pieces that make your car go fast.
Yeah. Now you get one scene where they go into like a warehouse full of exotic cars and they go like, ooh.
You can have any car you want.
Right. And then that's it. Now it's back to the heist. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, keep going.
Core intercoolers, ball bearing turbos, and titanium valve springs.
Look, buddy, I'm not here to read the manual. Can you make my sign look like an angry robot penis or not? Witness the birth of the movies that have always been about family, even though half the original cast has been disowned. Way to turn down half a meal for the sequel, Ja. Kuda shoota luda. But the keepers were all there from...
I mean, Ja Rule. Wow.
What a story.
Not the worst business decision he's ever made, but the second worst business.
But he wouldn't have, if he was still in the Fast and Furious films, wouldn't have even gotten into that whole fire debacle.
That's right. Yeah. You'd have been
put him on this would have put him on a totally different path.
And no, we're not just being cheeky. That genuinely was the role. Ja Rule's role was literally given to Luda. So it really was a 1-to-1 thing. And yeah, man, he all he had to do in this one was just like sit behind the wheel of a car and get offered a threesome. And he's like, that's too much work to do it again. No thanks.
No, thank you.
He doesn't repeat himself creatively. I think that's what it comes down to. Is like once Ja has done a thing, he needs to move on to the next project, you know?
Yeah, and again, it was he just, according to the producers, he just kind of ghosted them. Like he just wasn't really responsive in getting back to them for the second one. So
more Ashante songs.
He had more.
Busy man. Listen, a lot going on.
Yeah. All right, keep going.
But the keepers were all there from the start, like Brian O'Connor, the most obvious cop ever.
Look at this snowman right here, man.
So it's a good thing he's a stone-cold cutie pie.
Because when you're done, I'm putting you on the street where you belong, cutie.
He's beautiful.
I like his haircut.
He's on a dangerous undercover...
Pause. The other thing that I didn't put in there, but there's a definite, like, intimate relationship. There's sort of a love triangle between Dom, Vince, and Brian. I feel like Vince, he of the multiple mesh tank tops, is very possessive of Dom's affection.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be homoerotic, but like, yeah, it's Vince was Dom's like number one guy, and now he's being supplanted by this new guy, and there is a lot of tension there. I think you can read it as, you know,
I mean, he kisses Vin on his cute little head.
Yeah. Listen, a lot of this franchise is just about male love in its various forms. I think that's fair. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, keep going.
He's on a dangerous undercover mission to infiltrate Dominic Toretto's sister. At the center of this early Audi's underworld is human gravel-bound Vin Diesel.
Let's go for a little ride.
A star with such unique charms, he's made a side career out of playing barely alive creatures who can only grunt a single word. But here, he's Dom Toretto, the ex-con who runs a cool tank top club for wayward youth. Dom lives his life a quarter mile at a time. Because if he thought ahead any longer, he might wonder,
wait, why do I rob trucks at full speed with harpoons? Why don't I just make them pull over first? Or should I drive for a living given what happened to my dad?
Clipped his bumper and put him into the wall at 120. I watched my dad burn to death.
Or like, I've already stolen $6 million worth of DVD players. Why don't I just retire and play with my street sharks?
Head shark!
Yeah, pause. I mean, I guess it's thinking too deeply about Dom's motivation, but like if he's stolen, and this is just kind of a throwaway line from the FBI, but he's stolen $6 million worth of electronics or trucks, like what's his end game? Like you don't need $6 million to like retire in a pre-gentrified Los Angeles flophouse. Like what's he need this money for?
I think he mentions it to Letty, something about moving to a beach. Just like
that costs
him and
even
her.
less.
Yeah.
Like, what is his motivation for being a thief? Like, he kind of says like he's got bills to pay, but like, I feel like he could, I don't know, he win some street races or sell some sponsorships or something like that. Like, what's made him turn to crime in the first place?
I mean, I think there is also, this is how he sees himself, and like this is how he, like he otherwise what does he do? He's got all of these gifts and all of these abilities, and yet he's just like hanging out in this garage with his pals all day. I think he
got banned from racing because he hit a guy.
Yeah, with a wrench.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, yeah, he wasn't like born to be a criminal. He like had this thing on his record and then couldn't sort of just go about getting a normal career. And so I think, yeah, he sort of sees himself as like, well, this is who I am and this is how I define myself. And like, so yeah, I think it's about running this criminal empire as much as it is the money.
But that's truly, I don't want to say sociopathic, but that's just like messed up that you watch your dad burn to death in like in a car race and you're like, I'm going to race cars for a living. I'm going to be a car driver.
A lot of people who's, like, I don't know, that doesn't strike me as like impossible that would happen.
Yeah. All right, keep going.
Return to a pre-gentrification Los Angeles, where the only thing going on at Coachella was truck heists.
Mile 114 outside Coachella.
That gathers every stereotype in the city to race through LA's trademark traffic-free streets and shows off all the candy-colored import cars of a 15-year-old's dreams. Because while a Ferrari is well out of your average kid's reach, this film got every mouth breather to put a new exhaust on their Civic and rear-end someone because they were playing Snake on their Nokia. I know I did.
I mean, pause right there. Like Dom is the only person who gets in a car accident in this entire movie, and not to be like old man like cranky dad over here, but like how many kids died because of these films? Like how many kids are like, oh, car racing's a thing. Okay, I'm gonna put like an exhaust on my Mazda and then hit somebody. Probably like I'll bet this movie is responsible for more deaths than like The Matrix or Rambo or something like that. Just putting that out there.
How many deaths is Rambo responsible for?
I don't know. It's just
that doesn't make violence look glamorous at all. Really,
50 Rambo deaths.
Yeah. Well,
maybe Rambo 3. Like the First Blood is like, ooh, don't do violence.
I'm sure
kids.
Someone joined something.
You'll end up dying in the woods.
Yeah, the Rambo franchise.
Okay.
I just think this is a street racing movie where the only victims are the people in the street race.
It's not even like
ever run over anybody.
I don't even know that it makes like freeway hijackings look sexy, but it definitely makes stuff like Race Wars look cool, and like this is a huge party that you'd want to be into. Like I'm sure it must have made street racing at least temporarily more popular.
Yeah, definitely. I know it did for me.
Well, I mean, not for like you got into it as a concept. You didn't start actual street racing, did you?
Did you start street racing?
Or I mean, like we're doing the Anakin meme. Like, you didn't really get into street racing.
Race Wars.
I'm disappointed, Padme now.
All right, keep going.
So after 20 years, 9 movies, and a Universal Studios ride that made Vin Diesel the same size as a helicopter, we turned to a simpler time when the franchise wasn't trying to outstunt Tom Cruise. The cast could all be in the same room together, and all anyone cared about was finding new and exciting ways to say NOS.
Tune the NOS.
I need NOS.
It's got a NOS fogger system.
He's got enough NOS in it to blow himself up. You're lucky that 100-shot of NOS didn't blow the welds on the intake.
He ordered 3 T66 turbos with NOS.
I definitely know all those words.
Yeah, we should have put in the scene from Black Sheep where the nitrous oxide's leaking into the car. ROAD.
Rudes. It's one of those weird words.
All right, keep going.
Wing car puns, as is tradition. Baby Driver, Gran Torino, Kia, Hot Rodriguez, Carlos Santana, Jesse Pinkslip, Johnny Transmission, Ja Rule Presents Tire Festival, and hello, spoilers, Car Wars, Rise of Paul Walker. Have they just not ironed out the details of their Corona deal yet, or what?
Yeah. So yeah, if you look at all the Fast and Furious ones we've done, I think we've made all of them into Car Wars, like different Star Wars puns, and pretty much all the starrings have been car puns. And then I'm particularly proud that we kept it going with Hobbs and Shaw, which is a spin-off, and then we called it Brolo, a Car Wars story, just to continue the analogy.
Nicely done, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a little
nicely done, us.
Back pat.
We're
what is this show
good.
about?
We're
It's
so
not
good
that.
at this, yeah.
I don't have the script open, but I imagine this is you have some questions and comments. So let's roll some deleted scenes if we have any, while I get that open.
Edo's sister, and he must be good, cause damn, she drops a dime on her own brother after one Fast and Furious night of passion.
B, what's his cell phone number?
555-6439.
Starring the following car puns: Greasy Lightning,
Yep, that's it.
Just that one.
Not
It's
much
good,
on the
though.
cutting room floor. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that deleted scene though did remind me of like there's way more to put in for Paul Walker being an obvious cop, because like every
my God,
conversation
yeah.
he has with Mia or Dom or anyone is really like, so what do you guys do like for criminals? Like as criminal stuff. Like where do you guys go at night? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Well,
What's going
I mean,
on?
Let
the
me
whole
in on
thing's-
all of your criming. Yeah.
Yeah, he never even has like a convincing backstory for like, what are you doing here? Like, how did you even hear about this place? Like, why
Yeah,
did you show up every day for a sandwich? Like, he's so persistent and then really never explains himself.
No, he has a job like delivering car parts. That's like his in, and they make no further questions about it. In fact, Dom tries to get him canceled. Dom tries to cancel him. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to ruin your reputation around this town, like calls his boss and stuff like that. Which, yeah. All right. Please subscribe and like and thumbs up and all that stuff, because you know what that does. It makes you watch these videos again when we do them, and that's every Tuesday. So if you like them, do that. And now, on to your questions. Evan J. Pretzer writes, Universal's mused about crossing this over with Jurassic Park. What franchise would be amazing and insane to mix in with the Fast and Furious? He suggests Fast and Furious and the Terminators.
Ooh. Men
So
in
we're
Black.
not necessarily one that is applicable, like any from the world, not just stuff that they Universal owns, right? We're doing any.
Well, yeah, anything. There's no rules. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Men in Black.
Men in Black.
Yeah, get them in with some aliens. I want to see what kind of alien car they drive.
Some kind of space race, yeah.
So yeah, space race. Get them up in there, even more than they already are. I think that would be mine.
I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and straight up MCU. Just like there, we got the Guardians, you know, we've got the Avengers.
Yeah.
Now we've just got the family, like the Toretto clan, and they're just like they have their own side adventures, but then team up movies. It's like,
yeah.
Well, if we're in a multiverse of madness anyway, who's to say the Dom and Tej aren't there?
I would definitely like to see. It's more of like they get subcontracted by SHIELD to take out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Ant-Man.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Nobody said anything about they're gonna have Infinity Stones. Through a portal, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
I'll just go with Cars, you know, but it's live action. So there's just now talking cars that they get inside. Lightning McQueen.
Like I like the first time they like open the door and try to get inside, they're just like, ah! Oh god, it's full of blood.
Adam Hulbert asks, what does it say about me that I haven't seen a single Fast and Furious? What can you say to convince me to see one? Well, look,
our job.
That's what we say. Like, this is a pretty, as far as Point Break ripoffs go, like this is a great one. This is a really solid, like action, dumb, extreme sports movie. It's just cars instead of surfing. So try the first one, see if you like that. And if you don't, try the fifth one, which is where they've completely abandoned that. And they're like, this is just an action heist franchise. Obviously you're not in this for the plot. So don't lower your expectations there. But rarely action movies are. So if you like 1 or 5, proceed accordingly. What do you guys say? What's your pitch for Fast and Furious? Or if you're not in at this point, you should just stay out.
Yeah, I think if you're not in at this point, well, no, you know what? Go see the next one, because the next one's got even more like craziness. They actually do go to space. As you can see, I'm really tied into space today. I should have worn a NASA t-shirt. Yeah, go see this next one. For one thing, it's a movie in theaters, and that's fun. And then, enjoy Tyrese in space.
I think these are the fun of like superhero type movies, but without all the mythology and backstory and ongoing linking up to everything. Like, I like that world building stuff, but it's kind of refreshing to have. They go out, they do heists, they do superhero exploits, and then it all gets wrapped up and they're back home drinking Coronas at the end, ready for the next adventure. Like, it's got that Bond thing where it's a formula and you know what to expect, and it always starts and closes in the same place. And there's something that's, I think, very comforting about that.
It's a bro-y James Bond. You're right. It's more that than the MCU, because they don't really. Recurring stuff, but that you don't really have to see.
Only the people, like the characters, keep coming back, and we expand the ensemble, which is great. But like, they barely ever mention things that specifically happened before. Like it's like no more complicated than a soap opera in those terms. Like, she's got no memory, now it's back. It's like that stuff.
Hust21 writes, speaking of cars, what's your favorite movie car? Favorite on-screen vehicle?
I really like the Batmobile and Batman Returns a lot.
That's a good Batmobile.
Yeah, it's a good Batmobile.
Those Burton Batmobiles were the best.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to say the Ecto one. Like, probably the defining movie car of my youth would be the Ghostbusters ride.
Yeah.
I had a big toy Ecto one.
I'm going to keep it in the Diesel verse. I love Vin Diesel's car in Triple X, which is similar to his Dodge Charger, but I believe it's a Pontiac GTO.
Yeah, I believe
it's
like yes.
Dark purple-ish with like the thing coming out of the hood, and man, that's a cool car. I don't really know much about cars. So that probably sucks and is terrible. I don't know. Here's something I do know about.
Car, right?
Reynard City Update Channel asks, what would Vin Diesel wine taste like?
Ooh.
I feel like there's a lot of sediment in it. Like, you're getting a weird little like grainy bits of something sand in the bottom.
Definitely, yeah. Like a lot of it's like mostly grape skin, and it's
just a little like at the end. You're like, you got there's something like a little grain, a little sand in the bottom there.
Those are tenants. That's the tenants. That's what
tenants.
You want.
Love those tenants, and it's all gravel filtered. Like it's poured through a gravel pile and then recollected and bottled in an oil can. By the way, repurposed oil can. They do say in this movie, like, he's got oil in his veins or something like that. Okay, final question. Jason Rudolph asks, what movie would become better with 9 unnecessary sequels?
Ooh. Well, since you brought it up and it's one of my favorite movies, I'm going with Breakin'. Just every year there's a new...
They keep breaking.
They keep breaking. You can see it, the evolution of Breakin' over the point of the 80s. I think it could be great. You could just follow it through. There's a rec center in every city, y'all. Yeah. Or am I just now describing Step Up? I might just be describing Step Up.
You are. They've done Step Up 5D to the back alleys or whatever.
I just rewatched this because it's popped up on Netflix, but I'm gonna go with Streets of Fire, that 80s Walter Hill movie. You guys ever seen Streets of Fire? It is a like rock musical set in the 80s.
Sidney LeMay?
No, it's Walter Hill. And he did it like right after The Warriors, and it's Willem Dafoe is a biker who kidnaps Diane Lane, who's a rock star, and Rick Moranis is her manager, and then Michael Paré and Amy Madigan go on like a quest through tough New York 80s to go rescue her. It's ludicrous, but yeah, you could just have the ongoing adventures of Michael Paré, tough guy soldier character, in a string of rock musicals going all the way up to the present day, and I'd be fine.
I'm into that. Yeah, well, I like. I haven't seen that, but I would love to do The Warriors with 9 sequels. The fact that that's not an annual franchise event.
It's like if the Warriors had more, just like more of the gangs were also just like bands, this would basically be that. Like it's very much in that world.
Also, spinning off from that, I would watch 9 more Scott Pilgrims, where they just kept fighting different bands in different parts of Toronto for different reasons or wherever.
Also, pivoting off Willem Dafoe, 9 more Lighthouses, where it's just him and different actors in black and white going crazy on an island together. I'd be into that.
Love it. Actually, that's a good clue for next week's Honest Trailer. Yeah, that's your clue. It's not The Lighthouse, but it's close.
Yeah, I wish it was. When are we doing The Lighthouse?
Yeah, someday. We would have done it in the Oscars one, but it got snubbed. What a shame.
Shocking.
All right, that's it for today. Please watch the Love It or Hate It video that we also made about Fast and Furious to help you decide. This is actually a perfect one for who asked about that? Adam Hulbert. Yeah. Go check that out and see if it pushes you in either direction of whether to watch these or not. That's what it's for. And Danielle, Lon, thank you so much for joining me. We'll be back next week. Y'all already got the clue. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.